I need to know, are you okay with the Cowboys honoring a Zeke who clearly will be on a mission to show Jerry Jones just how wrong he was to release Zeke?
Clearly, he will be on a mission, Skip, but we'll get into all of that. I am absolutely fine and looking forward to seeing whatever it is that Jerry has planned to honor Zeke. You guys have to go back before we come forward to this whole thing. You go back. Zeke came in 2016. The Cowboys were 4-12 in 2015. We had a 7-game losing streak in the middle of the season, and it ended with a 4-game losing streak. They had Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Ramsey. We had the 4th pick. We were looking at those 3 guys right there. I wanted Zeke right off the back. We needed Zeke. We got Zeke. I was so happy. Zeke put up 1,600 yards his rookie season, 15 touchdowns. He should have clearly won Rookie of the Year. They gave it to Dak Prescott because Dak started and had a great season that season. But it clearly was Zeke that led that football team. The 214 is the area code here. We had 2-1-4. 21-4. The 21 came before the 4. That's how important Zeke was. He is to be honored. He should be honored. He meant a great deal to this team. We went 13-3 that first year, pulled us right up out of the gutter. Zeke deserves to be honored.
Absolutely, he deserves to be honored. And I know many times teams bring players back after they retire and they honor them and they do all of those sort of things. This is a little different because he's still playing. And I would imagine Michael, Skip, Zeke has 2-3 years left of playing in the National Football League, right? I mean, I would expect that, but he may never get back.
Only 28 years old. He's 28.
Yeah, but he plays running back. You know how they get when you get to 30 years old at the running back position. They start looking at you different. Yeah. So he may never get back to Dallas as a player to be able to play against the Cowboys. On top of that, this may be a little Jerry Jones way of kind of getting his mind off of some other stuff, meaning like Zeke gets honored. He's focused in more on being honored and thinking about those things opposed to thinking about gashing the Dallas Cowboys' terrible run defense that gave up 200-plus yards to an Arizona team a week ago. So it could be some of that gamesmanship being played by Jerry, but nevertheless, he deserves 100% to be honored.
All right. Michael Irvin just spoke as a Dallas Cowboy Hall of Famer, an ambassador for the Dallas Cowboys. Keyshawn Johnson just spoke as a former great NFL player who honors what Zeke has accomplished in this league. Now, I'm going to speak strictly from the heart as a lifelong die-hardest Dallas Cowboy fan. And I have lived and too often died with Zeke after he got paid. I pounded this desk for him to get paid after his first 3 years, after the 2018 season. And Jerry, after Zeke, as you remember, held out at Cabo San Lucas for most of training camp, he finally said, okay, I give in, and he paid him. He made him the highest paid running back in pro football. And soon after, as I often said that year, it looked like Zeke was still running in Cabo Sand out on the beach in NFL games because his productivity started to plummet. And he got a little heavy to my eye, had a little bit of a pot belly just to my eye, wasn't in the greatest shape just to my eye. And he was waving out in too many games. He'd break a 12-yard run and wave to the sideline. I'm gassed. I need a replacement here for a couple of plays. And I'm like, come on, you're the highest paid running back in pro football. Not acceptable. So I'm looking at what Pro Football Focus graded Zeke in the 4 subsequent years after he got paid. The first year, he was 10th in the league. Not bad, but not number 1. Then the next year, he plummets to 46th overall in running back grade. The next year, 33rd, and last year, 39th in overall running back grade. Yet the Dallas Cowboys still honored Zeke last year because he was given the football, handed the football 231 times to 193 for a breakout star in Tony Pollard. So they continued to feature, they continued to say, you're the man, you're a force in the locker room, or a force in the huddle, and we need you to be a force on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 1. And sometimes he was, and oftentimes it was 1 yard and a pile of dust, a cloud of dust. And after a while, it got so hard to watch for me that it's hard for me to let my heart go to honor Zeke as he returns to try to rub it in on us. And you know, and I know, it's very possible that Belichick will give him the ball more than the 15 he got against the Jets. He might get it. I don't know. He might get it 20 or 25 times, and maybe he will take his pounds of flesh from us. So I like Keyshawn's point. Is Jerry Machiavellian enough that he's thinking, I'm going to undercut his emotion by honoring him? I'm going to take a little edge off his revenge motive by honoring him? Maybe, but you know and I know, Jerry's a showman. He's an entertainer. This is entertainment to Jerry. Sometimes I think box office is more important than wins and losses to Jerry. So he wants the show, and the show is to somehow honor, celebrate Zeke. And Michael, I'm with you. The first year was off the charts. It's one of the all-time great rookie running back years you'll ever see. Yeah, he was the best player in the league that year, and he deserved the MVP over that. I give you all that. And he was very good in his second and third years, but then that happened. Not for 1 year, for 4 straight years. It was just hard to find 2016 Zeke.
You've been
but you're not going to get
disingenuous in this, Skip.
But you're not going to get
disingenuous in this, Skip.
All right, go.
Because right now after Zeke, those first few years, we know what happened the second year. Zeke had a little vacation time in the second year. Those first 3 years, I say Zeke was the best player in the league. He deserved his money. He had earned his money. We give him his money. Right then, when Zeke comes back, that's when you start missing. You talked about those offensive linemen. We had the Tyron Smith, the Zach Martins, and the Travis Fredericks. Those guys started missing a lot of games then. Zeke was keeping us together. And we were, I was going crazy over here because people were doing the same thing. Once he got paid now, I've never seen Love turn the load this fast. Everybody now put him at a different place, and I kept saying, stop, people. Stop. You don't know what Zeke means. That kind of force, that kind of physicalness. What do you think they need right now in practice to get ready? What did they do last week? They couldn't stop anybody. They were running everywhere and anywhere. They need Zeke's physicalness. I'm still disturbed that we don't have it, and now I'm disturbed that we're about to feel it because he's going to make us feel it.
When Zeke started to somewhat numbers-wise, from a rushing standpoint, not yards from scrimmage, started to tail down, after he got paid, that offensive line started falling apart. Okay? They were mix and matching and putting different guys in different positions.
Right.
You can't just say all of a sudden he got paid, because when he got paid the next year, I believe he rushed for 1,400 yards. So it wasn't just he disappeared. Then when you start talking about Pro Football Focus, I think that was your reference, Skip.
He didn't have as many touchdowns that year, Key. He didn't have the 15 touchdowns like he had his rookie season, and people started getting on him. But you're right, he had 1,400 yards, and they act like he didn't even have 1,000 yards.
That is correct. He didn't have as many touchdowns. He has 16 as a rookie. He didn't have as many touchdowns, but doesn't make him less of a player, because when you get into certain situations and down and distance in parts of the field, you may not want to run the football there. You may not need to run the football there. You may decide to throw the football there. It would be interesting to look at what they did at that time in the red zone. Then you talk about, as Skip said, Pro Football Focus said that he was 39th amongst running backs or whatever it was.
2020, he fell all the way to 46.
46, okay. Guess why? You say he had all these touches. He had more than Pollard. But they're using him in tight situations, goal line, short yardage. So his touches are going to be more significant than Pollard's, because he's the battering ram that Michael Irving is talking about right now, Skip.
Okay, but Pro Football Focus is really good at what it does, and it's grading his effectiveness in short yardage and goal line. And they're saying, no, he's not very effective, because they're downgrading him completely out of the top 10 into the 20s, 30s, and even into the 40s.
Yes, but you showed me a clip the other day from the Rams game in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
He got stuffed.
Did he?
He got stuffed. But did you not see the gold and blue on the other side of the line of scrimmage, whoever that guard was, sitting in Zeke's damn lap, Skip. Come on now, but you blame Zeke for that. You act like he was running blindfolded.
You heard what Michael Irvin just said. The first 3 years, he was the best player in the league.
But the offensive line was better.
I don't care who's across the ball. You have a whole quarter break. This was from the third to the fourth quarter to figure out what you wanted to do. And Jason Garrett finally said, I got 21. He is just mentally and physically tougher than they are. We're going to give it to him right up the gut, and he will find a way to run through the purple and gold wall.
Was your offensive line not intact then?
It was intact.
Boy, they were intact, Key. Yes. They were intact, Key, and they were playing together so well.
Yes.
Travis Frederick had those boys. It was harmony. And I keep telling people that running back offensive line combination has to be right. You can't just put any running back behind any line. And they had harmony running together. When that line started getting hurt, that became a problem. We talked about not having as many touchdowns because the offensive line got hurt. What did we see for the Dallas Cowboys this past week? A lot of offensive linemen out and a red zone problem when you lose that many offensive lines. We'll talk about that.
On top of that,
that's when it becomes so crucial.
On top of that, playmaker and Skip, you know as well as I know, when you have a quarterback that all of a sudden you want to make a passing quarterback and take the football out of certain guys' hands, the offensive line now all of a sudden are not pushing forward. They're going backwards on their heels because they have to pass set. It changes your run game. It just does.
Keyshawn, you have to understand, I loved Ezekiel Elliott so much that in 2017, we made a commercial for Undisputed in which I'm waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and as I get out of bed, you can see a picture of Zeke on my nightstand. That's how big a fan I was of 21.
What picture you got there now?
I got none, because there are none who deserve to be on my nightstand right now. I got a picture of death on my nightstand after last Sunday.
Are you going to put Cooper Rush up there?
Maybe.
You're going to get Cooper Rush
we'll get
up
to
there.
that in a few minutes.
So, like, as Skip likes to say, big picture now, right? We're going to go big picture.
All right, well,
Zeke's coming into Texas Stadium. I got him over 20 touches, 100 yards, and the reason I got it that way is because Mac Jones is the quarterback and your defense stinks, right? It stinks on the rush side.
Okay, if Zeke goes for 100 yards, we're going to lose the football game. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, because he's going to average 5 a pop.
Okay,
so if you give him 20 touches, he's going to get that 100 yards.
So let's honor Zeke at halftime or whenever. Let's go ahead and honor him as he rubs our noses in the fact that we can't stop him. Is that what we're going to do?
Well, you got
great. I love it.
They're not. Belichick is smart enough. You know this playmaker. Belichick is smart enough to not put Mac Jones in a situation with Michael Parsons and company because the strength of the Cowboys' defense is going to get in the passer. So he's not going to have him back there patting the ball 50 times. They're going to turn around and hand that thing with balance to Zeke. And Zeke knows guys like you, Skip, are giving him motivation. Isn't that what you try to tell me and Richard Sherman? We're giving the Cowboys motivation.
Yes.
All you doing is giving Zeke motivation with your foolishness.
Now Jerry is giving him motivation.
And you remember, Skip, you remember when Emmett returned.
I was just going to bring it up. I swear to you, I was just going to bring it up.
Well, I know it. And I thought about that, Skip. I was like, man, when Emmett returned. But the thing was reversed. We had the hammer when Emmett returned because Roy Williams was the hammer back there at safety. Whenever he hit you with that big old round head, you felt that pain.
When Emmett returned, Emmett was in like his 13th year, though.
No, we're talking about 1993. Okay, after you're talking about the two-game holdout.
You're talking about the Arizona Cardinals, right?
No.
We had.
We're talking about when he held out.
When Emmett came back.
No, he's a playmaker. I'm talking about when he came back as a Cardinal.
I'm talking about when he came back as a Cardinal.
Yeah.
And Roy Williams hit him in the hole.
Yeah, I remember.
Caught him right in the gap.
Okay, I got it.
And broke his shoulder. His shoulder.
Man, we had the force. He was in his 15th year.
Force. That's okay. That's great.
Okay.
But what I'm bringing up is the physical part of it. We had the force on our side then. Roy brought that force. Now the force is on the New England side.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you something. Hey, this dude right here, this stubborn dude, and Bill Belichick, you have shown a weakness. he's so stubborn. He may come out and run the first 15 plays, just pounding Zeke right at you because he's seen the stubbornness. He's seen it. And he's going to double CeeDee Lamb and try to say, Dak, let me see you figure out these coverages that I'm doing. This is going to be a very difficult, scary game for the Dallas Cowboys.
Michael,
that game last week gonna come back to hunt them.
It sounds like you're picking New England, just like Keyshawn and Richard are picking New England.
I'm picking New England. I am. I'm picking New England. Go into Jerry's world.
I ain't say that yet. We ain't got to make that decision right now. I ain't say that.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I'm scared, Skip. This is a worrisome game. We just saw these guys. They weren't even touched, those running backs. Wasn't touched when they were hitting the hole. Wasn't touched in Arizona. You got to put something on Zeke, or Zeke going to hurt you.
Okay. I got to hark back to Emmett's holdout, just like Zeke had a holdout. And then Emmett came back after 2 games in 1993. And, Michael, what happened? MVP happened. Super Bowl MVP happened. And yet, my big issue with paying running backs in this league is usually you're paying them for what they have accomplished, past tense, not what they can do for you next year and the next year. Zeke got paid for his rookie year and his second year and his third year. And all of a sudden, in year 4, he started to hit the running back wall that he used to be able to run right through.
1,400 damn yards.
Look, he's 109 a game as a rookie. He fell to 85 a game in his 4th year. That's the year he got paid.
But
he got paid for what he had done.
For 1,600 every
Keyshawn, you don't watch him like I watch him. He became a liability the last 2 years. Every time they handed it to 21, I'm like, oh, God. Do you know how many zeros and ones I had to watch? Do you know how many -1s and -2s I had to watch? Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.